Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into a seriously fascinating explainer based on some incredible source material. We are going to look at a highly precise, science-backed framework for targeting something a lot of us struggle with, and that's stubborn, hidden belly fat. But look, we aren't just talking about regular fat here. We're going to break down a specific biological protocol, 3 mechanical rules designed to attack this problem from both sides. We're going to stop new storage, and we're going to burn what's already there. So get ready, because the data we're unpacking today is absolutely empowering.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start by looking at the silent killer within. Then we'll walk through the 3 mechanical rules: fasted walking, gut fire, and double fasting. Finally, we'll wrap the whole thing up into a really practical daily blueprint.
All right, let's jump straight into section 1, the silent killer within. We really need to understand the true danger of hidden fat.
So most people assume that all belly fat is exactly the same, right? But it's really not. Subcutaneous fat is just the stuff you can pinch on your belly or your hips. But visceral fat, that is the silent killer. It acts like this toxic sludge wrapped right around your vital organs. Think of it like a swollen, inflamed knee. When your knee is swollen, you're limping, it aches, you can barely walk. While visceral fat is doing that exact same thing inside your body. It's inflaming your pancreas, your intestines, and your heart, literally physically preventing them from doing their jobs properly.
And when those organs can't function, things go south quickly. Visceral fat actively releases chemicals that drive severe organ inflammation. It creates insulin resistance, which means your body starts storing sugar as fat instead of using it for energy, and that kicks off a vicious cycle of high blood sugar and type 2 diabetes. It's even linked to strokes, heart disease, and Alzheimer's. But here's the absolutely incredible news from the recent MRI and CT scan research. By targeting specific biochemical pathways, it's actually possible to reduce this toxic visceral fat by 14 to 37% in just 12 weeks.
Okay, let's dive into exactly how we do that with Rule 1, fasted walking. This is all about physical movement that specifically targets visceral fat. Let's completely flip the script on how we think about fat loss.
If you thought you had to go out and run grueling marathons to burn belly fat, you are going to love this. Walking at a moderate pace actually draws 70 to 80% of its energy directly from your fat stores. Compare that to running. Running often draws much less energy directly from fat, closer to 25 to 50% depending on how hard you're going. Walking primarily targets and melts visceral fat. It feels almost effortless, but mechanically, it's a highly targeted attack.
So here is your magic number to shoot for: 12,000 to 15,000. That is the daily step target. Actually, I challenge you to pull out your phone right now. Open up your health app and look at your average monthly steps. Whatever that number is, the protocol says to incrementally just add 1,000 steps to it until you hit that 12,000 to 15,000 range. But here's the real game changer. Aim to do 60% of those steps during a fasted morning walk. You wake up, have a black coffee, and walk for 30 to 60 minutes. Because your liver glycogen is totally depleted from fasting overnight, your insulin is rock bottom, your body has absolutely no choice but to burn that visceral fat for fuel.
Now let's see how we can build this into an even more powerful protocol using what's called the Japanese walking technique. Discovered by researchers at Shinsu University, this 30-minute interval technique basically gives you 10 times the benefits. It's super simple. You start with a 5-minute gentle warm-up. Then you kick into a 3-minute brisk walk. Think of like speed walking through an airport where trying to hold a conversation is kind of tough. You follow that with a 3-minute moderate, sort of window shopping pace. Repeat that cycle 5 times and then do a 5-minute cool down. The research shows this efficiently shrinks the waistline. We're talking up to 6 centimeters in 5 months. Plus, it boosts your VO2 max by 10 to 15% and significantly lowers your blood pressure.
Moving right along to Rule 2, gut fire. We are going to create an internal furnace to burn fat. We've mastered movement, right? Now, we need to master the fuel we're putting into our bodies. The gut fire protocol is all about keeping insulin, which is your main fat storage hormone, as low as possible, all while turning your insides into an absolute furnace. This whole concept relies on the thermic effect of food. That's basically the calories your body burns simply by digesting what you eat. Look at this. Protein's fat-burning effect is astronomical. It's 2 to 6 times higher than carbohydrates and up to 10 times higher than dietary fats. By prioritizing high protein and just completely ditching ultra-processed foods that aggressively spike your blood sugar, your body literally has to work harder to digest. You're essentially burning calories just to process your meal.
Beyond just your macros, the source material identifies some really brilliant biochemical hacks.
Meet AMPK. This is an enzyme that functions like a master metabolic switch in your body. When it's activated, your cells become highly responsive to insulin, meaning you need way less insulin circulating in your blood. And remember, less insulin equals more fat burning. So how do we physically flip this switch? Apple cider vinegar. The protocol recommends taking just 1 tablespoon of ACV in water about 10 minutes before a meal. The acetic acid in there slows down gastric emptying, which turns the rapid fire hose of a blood sugar spike into a nice, slow, steady stream.
And alongside the ACV, we have this incredible insight from the research. Green tea is a GPS-guided missile for visceral fat. Green tea contains these powerful catechins, specifically one called EGCG, and it acts as nature's ultimate fat-burning chemical. In fact, CT scan studies showed massive visceral fat reduction in people who drank the equivalent of 3 to 5 cups a day, even while their total body weight stayed exactly the same. The big rule here, though? You have to drink it black. Maybe toss in some lemon, but absolutely no milk or sugar, because that will totally block those fat-burning benefits.
To really stoke that internal fire, you want to load up on the right foods. Prioritize wild-caught salmon. The omega-3s in it specifically block the stress hormones that force your body to store visceral fat in the first place. Then there's rich, creamy Greek yogurt. But here's the trick. Look specifically for the probiotic strain Lactobacillus gasseri. CT scans confirm that this bacteria alone can reduce visceral fat areas by 8.5%. Add in delicious fermented foods like kefir and kimchi, antioxidant-packed berries, chia seeds, and seaweed. By eating these, you are actively feeding your good gut bacteria while lowering systemic inflammation.
Which brings us to Rule 3, double fasting. Mastering exactly when you eat. So the crucial point here is that it's not just about what you're eating, but when you are eating it. The source material lays out a highly effective double fasting approach to keep that insulin strictly controlled. It works like this. For 6 days a week, you follow a standard 16-8 fast. You stop eating at 8 p.m. and you don't break your fast until noon the next day. Simple enough, right? But then 1 day a week, you implement a full 24-hour fast. Say, from 8 p.m. on Sunday to 8 p.m. on Monday. And honestly, what makes this so wonderfully manageable is that for 8 of those hours, you're completely asleep. When you do that 24-hour fast, you drop your insulin levels dramatically for a full day, and you force your body into a state of autophagy. This is an incredible biological process. It's literally your body's internal spring cleaning, whereas sweeps through and clears out damaged, junky cells. It acts as an anti-aging mechanism. It massively boosts your human growth hormone, which is what protects your muscle mass, and it flushes out bad bacteria from your gut, giving it a chance to completely reset and recover.
And this brilliantly illustrates our final section, the daily blueprint. Let's put these 3 rules into practice.
Let's bring all this abstract science into reality and walk through a sample day chronologically. Just see how perfectly these pieces fit into that 16-8 schedule. You wake up, have a black coffee, and head straight out for your fasted Japanese technique walk. Boom, your body is purely burning visceral fat right out of the date. At noon, you're ready to break your fast, but 10 minutes prior, you take your apple cider vinegar switch. Then you enjoy a high-protein bowl of blueberry overnight oats made with that probiotic Greek yogurt. Mid-afternoon, you're sipping on your black green tea and having some delicious salmon nori tacos packed with omega-3s and kimchi. By 8 p.m., you hit your eating cutoff and your body transitions seamlessly right back into a fasted, fat-burning state overnight.
Listen, the source material makes one thing very clear. This is not some temporary crash diet. It's a mechanical framework. Consistency turns these mechanical rules into automatic habits. By mastering some basic control and just exercising patience, the clients mentioned in the research saw dramatic, long-lasting transformations. They safely shrank that deadly fat around their organs and massively improved their overall longevity.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to take a hard look at your own daily routine. What is one mechanical rule you can add to your schedule tomorrow to start shrinking the silent killer? Could you add that fasted morning walk? Maybe just implement the apple cider vinegar switch before lunch? Pick one thing, start right there, and empower your body to heal from the inside out. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive today, and keep feeding that curiosity.